So you guys, let's kind of play a game real quick. Is it old or is it new? Well, it's actually kind of pretty new, but I got a hole in it. Okay, so welcome back, you guys. I've actually been going to the store. I've actually been, looking through you guys' websites and stuff like that. And I like the distressed look, okay? I like that. I think you guys don't have much of that in y'all's actual stores and stuff like that. And I think it's because you guys don't know how to do it. And if you do, then I guess you don't do it at all. But it's pretty cool to do. I know a lot of DIY channels do this. They actually make distressed kind of, vintage looking stuff. But they don't really ever show you guys how to do it in the design process, in like the Photoshop process, which I feel is kind of a little more time saving if you do it in the design process instead of DIYing it. Not to bash to the DIY community or anything like that, but to do it in the design means that it's set and it's gonna look right each and every time you do it. To do it outside of the design, like just to have the shirt and personally doing it and doing it like for 30 people or whatnot, that's time consuming. And I mean, it does put that personal, you care for them and stuff like that, but forget that. Like, do it in the design, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna show you guys today is how to save yourself a tons of time, 1,000 hours worth of time, to get this one design to look consistent, vintage, and actually pop out to people who are looking for those vintage shirts like me. As you can see, I'm wearing the vintage Rolling Stone shirt. Like, I like that. And there's a whole bunch of other people who do like that as well. I'm pretty sure you do too. So I'm gonna show you guys in Photoshop how to do this. And if we get to like 1,000 likes, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it in Illustrator, which is that much more easier for anybody who are looking to learn Illustrator, stuff like that. But with that being said, we're gonna go into Photoshop. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is actually load up the texture. So the texture here in Photoshop is pretty much ready to go. All I need to do is just make a copy of it. So I'm gonna hit Command J to make this layer 1 right here. And then on top of that, I'm gonna hit Command U and just desaturate it. So it's a kind of like a grayscale image right now. So it's gonna look a little bit something like this. And what we need to do now is just make sure that all the dark points are dark and all the light points are light. So basically creating the levels by hitting Command L on that actual layer that we just desaturated is going to make sure that we can get that into the right spot. So the highest point here is all the highlights, everything that's supposed to be like white that's looking gray right now. I could just shift that over and make it look white. Now I don't want to blow it out too much, but if I do something a little bit like this, we get something similar to this, and that looks good there. I think that looks perfect. Now if I take the midpoint though and I bring that over, we get some more of these dark points, and that looks good there. We don't really have to mess around with the last one here. I mean, we can, but all that's going to do is just make more dark points, and that's kind of like overkill, but that looks pretty good right there. We can move along with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. And now what I want to do now is just turn off the background and then go up into my tools panel and get the magic wand, or we can just hit W. And with the magic wand, I want to select out all the black points. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the black. And then in the layers panel, I'm going to go down here to the layer mask and hit the layer mask. And that's just going to create a layer mask for all the dark points. Now highlighting both the new layer and the background layer, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Command E, which is going to merge both of these into one. And I pretty much just get something a little bit like this. So that background that we just had is no longer there. We're pretty much just running off of this right here, which is just the texture that we need. So I can turn this into a brush now and then use that to pretty much create our distress. So I'm gonna go into edit, down to define brush presets, and I'm gonna name this distressed 1. And that's just gonna make this actual brush. So now if I move around, I got a brush. Now I'm gonna move into my document here, which is what I created specifically for this. So I have this graphic here already, and I have two graphics actually. I have a Batman logo, which is this one right here. And then I have this, which is what we're going to be working with. And I just wanted to show you guys that it works on both. So I'm just going to go to this first one, which is layer 2. I'm going to go ahead and create a layer mask. And then with this brush, as you can see, it's kind of long, it's kind of big. But if I was to just paint on the layer mask, this is what we get. Now that's too much. So I'm going to hit Command Z, scale backwards, and I want to scale down this brush. This brush right now is at like 3,000. And the document is not even all that big. So if I scale it down to like this and I click on it, we get something a little bit like that. If I move around just a little bit, maybe like right here, something a little bit like that, it's just distressing it. Maybe I do something like this. I think that looks pretty good right there. So if I hit Command S and go to the actual baseball t-shirt, this is what we get. As you can see, it's showing more of the background, which is what we want. We want the back of the actual shirt to be seen. So let's just say we want to take this and export it out. You just go into File, Export, Export As, and this gives you an actual forte of things that you can export this as out. So let's just say you want it just in the exact same size. All right, you just hit the plus button. You can get another size, which is like, I usually recommend a ×2, okay? And then if you want to stretch it, you can go to ×3, and that will give you, you know, the same document. All you have to do is hit export all. So let's just say I wanted to work on this Batman logo. So all I need to do is just click on the Batman logo, go into the layer mask, click on that, click on the layer mask, and then use the brush to just click anywhere just to get this out like this. All right, and then I'll hit Command S, going back into the baseball t-shirt, and this is what we get. And it looks pretty good, pretty authentic, pretty nice and clean. I think that's gonna work out well for you guys. And with that final tweak, you guys, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope this saves you guys a lot of time, because like I said, it's harder to do it for 30 people if you're selling it like that. And it's not gonna look consistent if you're doing it like that. But if you're doing it inside of the design first, and then putting it out on the screen prints, and then putting it out on the prints, it's gonna look that much better. And plus, a lot of people like that vintage look. So having that vintage look and then putting it on your design, stuff like that, is gonna help you guys out. So if you guys learned something today, go ahead and smash the like button. If you guys want me to do some DIY stuff, like, I don't want to bash the DIY community. I think that's amazing that you guys do it, but it's very personal for them, not really for people who are trying to sell it. So if you guys want me to do some DIY stuff, I can partner up with somebody. Let me know in the comment section below. Tell me who I should partner up with. Like, even hit them up and, you know, say, hey, Rob might want to partner with you, and I definitely will do it. I'm not that good in DIY, but I am very good in design. But for you guys, I'll definitely try to do it. So if that's something you guys want me to do, let me know in the comment section below. But I'm gonna have to get up out of here. So stay amazing, stay creative, above all else, stay awesome.